Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football, and it's been a massive 24 hours for Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers on the 2024 high school recruiting trail. You obviously land Sammy Brown, a five-star linebacker, late last night, and now we've been talking about Clemson and the wide receiver development. It's something we've talked about heading into that official visit weekend. They land two of the best wide receivers in the class, and Bryant Wesco and TJ Moore. If you're a Clemson fan and you took a look and previewed that official visit weekend that they had last weekend, I don't think you could have asked for a more perfect weekend, landing three commitments out of that weekend. And again, the recruiting is seemingly just like a momentum game. And right now, Clemson has a ton of momentum leading into the summer with this 2024 class. Now, before we get into the players and where I think they might fit into this program, again, just want to say thank you to you guys. If you're watching recruiting videos in the summer, you're about it, and you kind of understand that this is how you win national championships. This is how you win ACC championships. Obviously, you have to get it done on the football field Saturdays in the fall, but getting the talent into this program is something that I think a lot of people overlook. That's why we enjoy talking a lot about it. So again, if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And the Clemson fans, it doesn't seem like it's slowing down anytime soon. So again, if you enjoy the content, you enjoy the updates, man, it means a lot if you guys check us out, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate all the support you guys have shown. And without further ado, let's get into it. And I want to talk about Bryant Wesco first. You take a look at how 24/7 Sports views him, a top 10 national prospect. Sammy Brown, the 5th national prospect, according to 24/7 Sports. 24/7 Sports has Bryant Wesco as the 9th best prospect in the country, the number 3 wide receiver. And there's so much to like. We're going to get into a little bit of his highlights and what he's going to bring. But just to give you like an overall scouting report on Bryant Wesco, an elite triple jumper. So he's got some track and field background. What I think you'll like most about his game, and you'll see it on the highlight film, is just an extremely twitched up yet smooth route runner that has a very good catch radius. And now you see 6'2", 170. Probably expect him to fill out that frame a little bit more, but what is special, what you can put some weight on the kid, but what you can't really teach is how twitched up he is and how smooth of a mover he is. And that's kind of something that I think a lot of college football programs and in the NFL, quite frankly, have been going towards, is getting those wide receivers that are smooth movers, that can create separation. That's what you want in your wide receiver one. And Bryant Wesco, out of the state of Texas, seemingly has wide receiver one written all over him. Let's get into a little bit of what he brings to the table. And what you're going to see is just an all-around really solid wide receiver. On this first route, just work in the middle of the field. He's very good after the catch. I mean, you see the stats, 58 catches for 1,100 yards, 17 touchdowns. He averages 20 yards per catch, but he has really everything. And you see like the ball tracking, the body control, the hands. It's kind of the whole package in terms of what you want at the wide receiver position. And this is crazy after the catch. Just going to absolute work. That you can't really teach that kind of movement in my mind. And that's been something that I think has been the bugaboo for Clemson and something we talked about. They've recruited the defensive side of the ball really well. They've developed the defensive side of the ball really well. But what's kind of been missing for Clemson the last couple of years, and you could argue maybe it was a result of the quarterback play or the offensive coordinator, but the wide receiver production wasn't what it used to be. You think back at DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Williams, Sammy Watkins, T. Higgins, like it's such a special list of Clemson wide receivers. And I don't think that is a coincidence that was the golden era of Clemson football when they were consistently competing for national championships. I'm not saying I don't like what Clemson has with guys like Adam Randall, Antonio Williams heading into 2023, but it's definitely a wide receiver group that 7 years ago, you were talking about some of the best wide receiving rooms in the country. Lately, it hasn't really been that. And I think Dabo Swinney and this staff, and no doubt Garrett Riley, meaning a lot on these recruitments, has kind of pushed towards getting some wide receivers, some special talent at the wide receiver position into the program. Bryant Wesco, certainly a guy that I think will provide that. And there's another guy, too. It's been such a phenomenal, 24 hours for Clemson. This morning, they also land the commitment of TJ Moore, who, again, 24/7 Sports loves. He's a top 100 national recruit, the 15th best wide receiver, and brings a little bit of something different than Bryant Wesco brings. And I talk about this a lot, and it's something I kind of believe in is when you're filling out your wide receiver room and how you want your wide receivers to play, I kind of see it like a basketball team, right? You want maybe your bigger boundary receiver, just like you want a center who can make some rebounds. You want your point guard or shooting guard, a guy that can maybe work in the slot and run some different routes on that short intermediate route. TJ Moore is certainly much more of a boundary guy. And what's interesting about him, also a super, super productive kid out of high school, right? 42 catches for 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns, averaged almost 25 yards per catch in high school as a junior. That's something that I think Clemson wants. They want to hit some more explosive plays. They want to be able to push the ball vertically downfield like they have in the past when they were winning national championships and being some of the best teams that we've seen in college football the last couple of decades. TJ Moore, Bryant Wesco, certainly going to help that. Both guys who've averaged over 20 yards per catch at the high school level as juniors. But TJ Moore, what you see in him is he does run track. He doesn't have burners, but he has a track background. This dude can run. What he is, like when the ball's in the air for a kid like TJ Moore, it's special in terms of he's always coming down with it. And another interesting note that I was kind of doing some reading about, doesn't turn 18 till he'll be playing college football at Clemson. And so he's a guy that maybe still have some more athletic development still to be had for him. Really intriguing. I want to check out a little bit about what he brings to the table. And you talk about ball skills. Like this guy has silly ball skills. Like this, some Odell Beckham type stuff right now. And getting back to some of the stuff you can't really teach. That's kind of what TJ Moore brings. And the body control combined with the ball skills. And he's a really good tracker of the football too, which I think sometimes gets overlooked. Like this might not seem crazy, but just tracking the ball really cleanly. And then you're going to see the ball skills again here. Work in the middle of the field. Guy draped all over him. Goes up with the one hand. Able to concentrate and make the play and then be good after the catch, making people miss. He's a bigger guy, harder to bring down. TJ Moore, Brian Wesco probably the better wide receiver. At least that's what 24/7 Sports says. But TJ Moore and what the potential he has vertically down the field when that football is high in the air, TJ Moore is often coming down with it. And it's so crazy because Dabo, and we've talked about this a little bit, taking a look at what they have in this 2024 class. Dabo Swinney has historically been a guy that is a late starter on the recruitment trail, right? He doesn't really offer these kids until they're rising juniors. And so some guys already locked in the 2025-2026 class for other programs. Dabo Swinney just started recruiting the 2025 class in terms of giving out official offers. I believe it's the 1st of June. And so sometimes Clemson doesn't necessarily start the hottest on the recruiting trail, but they always seem to finish strong. And kind of a knock that you've seen a lot of college football fans, and realistically, hand up, I was kind of like, all right, Dabo's got to get with the times a little bit. But Dabo does at Clemson. He does it differently. It's hard to say it doesn't work. And you look at what this 2024 class could be and all the talent they had on their official visits last weekend. They're sitting as a top 10 class right now, and that's not even with Bryant Wesco in the fold as another top 50 prospect according to the 24/7 Sports Composite. This is looking like one of the better classes that Clemson and Dabo Swinney will have brought in a very long time. You take a look at projecting Clemson as how they kind of go for the next couple of years. You obviously have a young quarterback in Cade Klubnik, who's one of the best in the country, at least one of the most talented in the country. The defense is going to be phenomenal. Dabo Swinney doing a phenomenal job building this 2024 class up. And again, there's a lot of hype. We've talked a lot about Florida State being potential guys to threaten Clemson's reign in the ACC. Dabo Swinney saying, wait, like this is still Clemson. This is still the team that's dominated the ACC for a while. And it's hard to sleep on what Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers are doing heading into 2023 and on the recruiting trail. I think Garrett Riley, from an offensive recruiting perspective, is a massive boost. I think at times, probably been some top-tier offensive playmakers who looked at the Clemson offense in 2021 and 2022 and said, I don't know if that's the place that I want to be in terms of how rough that offense looked at times. Garrett Riley comes in, Cade Klubnik taking over the offense. I think suddenly this Clemson offense is back to, like, if you're a wide receiver, you're a playmaker, you want to come to Clemson. That's a high program on your list. It certainly looks that way with guys like Bryant Wesco and TJ Moore now into the fold. Dabo Swinney doing things a little bit differently, but still getting it done on the high school recruiting trail, landing 3 guys in the top 100 nationally in the last 24 hours. A great official visit weekend for Dabo, looking for him to continue the momentum heading into the summer. Appreciate you guys checking us out again. If you do enjoy the updates, you enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.